What's up, guys? This is the NiceHCK EP10. It is a NiceHCK AliExpress store exclusive, I believe. Well, it must be based on the name. Now, however, sometimes some things are rebranded and are known to be other devices, or sorry, other items that were maybe tuned by BGVP. This is not uncommon for certain AliExpress stores to rebrand their own items. This, I'm not sure if it has a corresponding other name, let's say. I don't think so, though. I think this might be one that is done for Jim and for NiceHCK exclusively. All that said, let's take a look at it. The build is really, really nice. This is probably the nicest item that I've seen under that $20 price point in terms of build. There's good weight to this guy, and it's got a really, really very nice build. Nozzle is covered. There's a little bit of venting here and some venting on the back. I have to assume that that works into the sound profile here somehow. The cable is very nice, very strong. I guess one point of consideration is that these do not have an MMCX or 2-pin removable cable. So the cable breaks, and either you're a MacGyver with cables or you have to buy a new pair. However, at under $20 USD, maybe that's not such a bad thing. Also, them fitting sort of downward, sort of like the one more triple driver or the FIO, is it the F5? But that sort of design. Duno did a few with this design, sort of the downward profile. It can be more comfortable for certain people. Over ear can get on your nerves after a while. So if you're one of those people, then potentially this is something you might like. It is a dark sound. I would say that people would consider this sort of an old school approach to tuning a driver. Nowadays, we're very used to V shapes and maybe potentially W shapes. This is a definitely almost flat across the board with a slightly elevated bass. Actually, elevated bass, I would say. It's not slightly. It's there's a pretty prominent bass here. Not a ton of sub bass, but the mid bass is quite a hump. To me, anyways, to my ears. I would say that it responds really, really well to EQ. Let's take a look at the EQ that I'm using with these guys right now, because I think that this is an important point. And the other thing is that you can't discount the ability of a driver to respond well to EQ. It's not something that is a commonality. It is something that is maybe even slightly unusual. So this thing, if you lift it up in the over 10K, 16K region, and you do sort of a partial V, one side V with these guys, they sound really, really, really nice. And if you have them and you find that they're a little too recessed for you in the treble region or a little too stuffy, then maybe this is the approach that you want to take. I think you can make them sound, improve the sound to your preferences. And with that in mind, the other thing about these guys is that the driver is really malleable, right? So like I said, this is not a common thing. The OM1 by Whizzer, I can't remember the name of the sub company that they have. That driver, for example, doesn't respond as well to EQ, and if you crank up the treble starts to sound tizzy. So these guys do respond really well to EQ, and I find that it really improves the quality. Soundstage is average, however, there is pretty good separation. So instrument separation is nice. There's a good amount of weight to everything with these guys. There's a weightiness and sort of a roundness to the sound that adds authenticity. So they're very natural sounding with that in mind. You can definitely tell this is a dynamic driver. They're not going to sound like have like sort of a quickness and thinness that you may find in a balanced armature. at least a single set balanced armature. I don't think I've ever heard anything with 5, 6, 7 balanced armatures in it that is not done by, let's say, KZ, and so any upper tier stuff. But I'm sort of a fan of the dynamic driver sound, and I guess maybe potentially I grew up with it. I've been listening to hi-fi for a long time, and it is something that is endearing to me. It makes the music sound more musical, I guess. And there's that term again that I hate, but it is what it is. So do I like these? Yes, I do. I think they sound really nice. I think there's a good, they are potentially for a person that is looking for something that's a little bit different than the typical sound. And the typical sound now is a V shape. So this is something that is a little more atypical with that in mind, right? And they respond really well to EQ, and they're a good price, and they're fantastically built, and they look really cool, and more expensive than they are. And I think they're definitely worth your money. So but however, if you're the type of person that does not like the One More triple driver, does not like the Koss Porta Pros, darker sounding earphones, then maybe this is not for you. So keep that in mind. This is for someone that is into a darker sounding phone, and that's it. So quick shout out to everyone that is subscribed to this channel. I think I just hit 500 subscribers, so that was something that I don't have a specific goal with this channel. Sometimes I know these videos look like they're filmed with a potato. I get that, but I also have 2 jobs and family and stuff like that, and I don't always have time to edit. Well, I don't have any time to edit or anything like that. So music is my passion. I love earphones. I'm OCD like anyone else that spends way too much money on this shit. However, I love it. It's a hobby. I enjoy it. I don't have a ton of money for more expensive stuff. I do have partnership with certain people, and they will help me out and sometimes send me items to review. You know who you are, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the people that watch the videos. So hopefully this helps you out a little bit. Anyways, Merry Christmas. Cheers.